Cool. So for our structure, basically just looking at what is the nature of what's been going on here. So looking at what has been going on, basically ascending structure. Okay, let's just speak about the price action. So from these lows here, we basically started creating higher highs and higher lows. But if you guys can see, we've clearly been doing so in a corrective manner because we created resistance, we broke above, we broke back below. Created new resistance, we broke above, broke back below. So obviously, yes, we want to buy, but we've been seeing that price action maybe is not ready for those buys because we're moving upside in some sort of a corrective manner. So otherwise, let's just draw our ascending structure over there. We had this nice ascending structure. Price gave that first touch, second touch, third touch, and that moved to the downside. Obviously, we're seeing momentum to the downside that has broken our structure. What we were looking at last week was some completion of a head and shoulder structure. We're looking at price action. Obviously, we wanted to be buyers, but we couldn't be buyers, so we decided to be sellers because we were at resistance. Obviously, we had momentum. We had this nice corrective structure here. What did we have? We had previous level of structure. The price action has broken above, broken back below, and obviously we could come back to retest this level of structure at a later stage in time. So looking at this resistance, we've got somewhat of a head and shoulder structure. Price action basically broke above this level of structure, broke back below, came back for a nice, beautiful retest. And obviously, we're going to be looking, or we can be looking for still some downside continuation. In terms of our buys, our bullish buys, if we look inside of the structure, the only momentum shift that we still have here that we've been looking at for the longest of time is this momentum shift over here. Let me just trying to do this quickly. Just clean that up a little bit there. I was using it for something else, otherwise not part of the topic. Anyway, yeah, so basically momentum shift that we've got is this momentum shift here. So we know that we can't be buyers, or at least the biggest probabilities that we have, or biggest area of probability that we have as buyers is somewhere down low, close to this POI over here, maybe close to this level of structure. The price action has broken below, broken above, and obviously we could come back for a retest after we've tested the neckline, whatever the case is. So we know that for being buyers, we want to see price action somewhere down low here. So obviously, all we've got left is just to be sellers. So looking at just the most recent 4-hour structure, clear enough, nice ascending structure over there. Don't know if we want to maybe isolate the structure. Don't think it's going to help much. But anyway, we can isolate the structure. First touch, second touch, third touch, nice, beautiful structure. But what's important to us is the fact that we've been moving up in an ascending structure, corrective manner. We've got a level of structure that we've broken above and broken below. And simple enough, all we're waiting for a retest of that level of structure, because what we understand is that when price action is moving to the upside, when we're manipulating, or whatever the case is, or when price action is maybe giving us a head and shoulders structure is, in all reality, is a level of structure, a real true level of structure. And then obviously that true level of structure is manipulated by price action. And then obviously price comes back to retest this true level of structure for continuation, or whatever the case is. So that's what we're expecting, that since we've been moving up in a corrective manner, if there are sellers and sellers are present, sellers maybe want to keep price action below levels of structure. And so we should be seeing price action retesting and continuing to the downside. So nice simple setup for us. Downside, I guess, I was trying to delete all of that blue stuff. I ended up deleting everything. So let's just add this back there. We add this back here. We add this because this is important to us. We know that we're looking for a retest of this level of structure in between next week. So things are very simple for us. We bearish bias on AUDCAD. All we're waiting for is just, since we have momentum, nice impulsive move, we're waiting for that corrective structure, that retest levels of structure that allows us to find a trading opportunity for some downside momentum. Cool. Sell bias. There we go. I see something in the chats there. Made it. What's good there? Shaquille in the building. Nice to have you, dude. Nice to have you. Nice to see you there, man. Let's go on to some Aussie Swiss francs. So this is the only pair that I decided not to delete anything on, because I still do have a position on here. This position has closed, so we can delete this smaller scalp inside of here. You can also delete all of this nonsense over here inside of there. It's not relevant to us. Let's also just delete what I just want to delete whatever is no longer relevant to me in terms of analysis. Okay, cool. Everything else, I guess, very much still relevant. So let's just do our top-down analysis just so that we're all clear. You guys can see everything. Higher time frames are going to take a long time to change. So anyway, momentum to the upside, corrective structure, new momentum to the upside. Within this, whatever's going on here, we just looked at the most recent structure. Most recent structure that's important to us is price action coming in there, giving us a level of structure resistance. We got a new lower low. Price action obviously broke back below this level of structure, broke above. We've got a retest of this level of structure over here in some sort of a corrective structure. Momentum to the downside, obviously retesting this area here. So we know that we can be biased from down low, but we can't be biased from up here because there is momentum to the downside and there's obviously a break and a retest area over there, where area or region where we expect maybe some sellers to be interested in involving themselves. So otherwise, delete all of this nonsense here. Now that we've spoken about the structure, we all understand what's going on there. Yes, we want to be biased down low, but we want to be sellers from up high. General consensus of what's going on there. We've got some momentum. So obviously being sellers, we're trading in the direction of just this most recent momentum on a daily. And then we've got this nice, beautiful corrective structure there. So to just maybe speak about, okay, whatever analysis we do is also going to be always going to be referencing something that we mentioned last week or whatever to some degree. But otherwise, we've got this ascending structure over here. Whatever the case was, we were looking inside of here because of that nice daily reaccumulation to the downside. Price action gave a perfect, if this is not perfect, if we think that things in the market are random, we forecasted this last weekend, or whatever the case is, just shows that there's some level of predictability in the markets, and to some degree things are a little bit algorithmic. Yes, maybe they're more random, and I would even say that they're random because we don't understand the nature by why or what moves things or how things move or whatever, so that makes things just look random. But to some degree things are very algorithmic. Otherwise, let's just delete this, it's not relevant to us anymore. Looking at just what we're going to do over the course of next week. So just looking at the most recent structure, obviously we see momentum, we see a nice corrective structure there. Price action has given us the risk entry. We've got nice downside momentum. What we have inside of this structure is we've just got this most recent resistance area up here that we've broken above and obviously broken below. But we also do have this internal 4-hour. Obviously, we're separating what structure would be relevant on a daily and what structure would be relevant on a 4-hour. Obviously, on a 4-hour, we've got this resistance here that we've broken above. Obviously, we see that nice momentum breaking back below that level of structure. So conclusion being that, yes, we are still sell biased until obviously we come to these buy regions or areas where we're expecting to buy. All we're looking for, since we do have momentum, nice simple corrective structure, either to retest this level of structure or this level of structure. Right now, looking at POIs, this is the only POI that I do have, or that I would say, okay, this is an area where we do see momentum. This is where I want to sell. So what we always do, we look for where did we see sellers coming into the market previously, and obviously an area where we've seen sellers selling previously will give us better opportunities in the future to sell, because if those sellers are still looking at the chart, and if their reasonings are still valid, then they're probably going to want to sell again if price comes back to a previous price area where they previously saw interest. So otherwise, that's where we're looking to sell. We sell bias on Aussie Swiss franc. Obviously, this is our first area, first region of looking for sell bias momentum. This is our last region of looking for sell bias momentum. We're still looking to complete the overall structure down at these lows here. Cool. Let's go on to some AJ. See something there in the chats. Okay, I see a direct message there. Okay, 100%. If you're still in there, I acknowledge the direct message from Christy. 100% there. Michael, just joined the Chasers team. As for today, I was raising funds to join. Looking forward to an awesome experience. Glad you're here, dude. Very, very glad that you're here. And obviously, I think now that you're here and it's your first time being here, more than anything, what I want you to take out is the processes, because everything is obviously process built, process driven. And if doesn't matter what you're doing, if your processes are in a mess, you can scale your business to be a 10-figure business, but you lose money because your processes cannot sustain whatever you're doing. So pay attention to the processes. How are we drawing to conclusions? That's the most important thing. Otherwise, enjoy, bro. Enjoy. Any thoughts on USD ZAR? So I don't look at USD ZAR anymore, but we'll see if maybe we've got a minute to look at it once we're done with the analysis. Let's go up to a daily. Let's go to some AJ. So AJ, we know JPY code pairs, they've been kind of ranging, but higher time frame, we've got enough price action to make sense of what's going on there. So higher time frame, we know they've been ascending structure. In this ascending structure, we're somewhere around a third touch, or we're expecting some nice chop to happen in this area over here. Otherwise, looking at just the most recent daily structure there, obviously momentum is to the upside. After we have that momentum, we enter into some sort of a corrective structure. Looking at the highs and lows in this corrective structure, extreme lows there because we're moving to the upside, taking into account our extreme highs here, we can see some sort of an ascending structure where maybe we can expect a third touch or whatever the case is there. But otherwise, looking at the overall price action, what we do have just in this most recent price action here is obviously price action is stuck inside some sort of a range. So first of all, we've got this higher time frame range where we've got this extreme low and this extreme high, and price has been inside there ever since we created that extreme low and that extreme high. And then we've got this extreme high and we've got this extreme low that we've seen price action, I guess, just being stuck inside ever since we've created that extreme high and that extreme low. So pretty much AJ on a daily or on much of the smaller time frames, we're more or less moving sideways, and we're in some sort of fair value area where market makers are just going to chop us, mess us around. So obviously what we do in situations like this is we pay attention to what structures are forming, and that's how we make our decisions. So we go down to the 4 hour, basically we look at what kind of structures are forming. What structures are forming are going to give us an idea of the nature. What is happening? What are buyers and sellers deciding, and how are they making those decisions? Are they being decisive? Are they doing things impulsively? Are they being a little bit hesitant? Are things happening correctively? Otherwise, looking at the structure here, we're at resistance. We knew that we couldn't sell last week because we're at resistance. I mean, we couldn't buy because we're at resistance. Otherwise, looking at the overall structure, we're in some sort of an ascending structure over here. I guess looks nice now. Which resistance do we want to take into account? Cool. We've got a nice ascending structure. We've got nice momentum to the downside. So obviously, since we're at resistance and since we've got corrective structure there, I would rather be sell bias than bullish bias at this point in time. Looking at the overall structure, and let's also maybe use this as another opportunity to distinguish between higher time frame structure and smaller time frame structure, external structure, internal structure. If we look at the overall what's going on here, we've got a low. After that low, where's the next highest high that we've got? Is this high here. After that high, where's the next low? Is this low here. After that low, where's the next high? Is this high up here. So let's not confuse this and call this higher time frame structure, because it's clearly not. If we have a look at where we want to optimally trade, is we've got a level of, shut up, big head. We've got a level of structure over here. Fasak, you finish make money during the week, go spend your money. We're busy preparing for next week here. I'm doing analysis. Yeah. The weekly market forecast, man. Oh, wait. Anyway, yeah, he's busy spending his money. He had a nice week, Java in the building, but otherwise let's continue, guys, with AJ. So at AJ sending structure, we've got this resistance here. So that's kind of where I want to trade in terms of looking for a retest of a level of structure. Maybe not so much this resistance over here. Let's just delete all these alerts here, because how do I delete them all? Remove all. It's a nice trick I learned, instead of deleting alerts one by one. Otherwise, coming back to what we're looking at, level of structure, we've broken above, broken back below. So obviously what we're going to be looking for is a nice retest, corrective retest of this level of structure here. If we open on Monday and price is still in this impulsive phase, I'm not going to jump into this market while it's moving. I'm going to wait for the corrective structure. The further we move away from this level of structure, the more the probability increases for me to use this level of structure as a retest area. So obviously we'll see, price is obviously still moving now. We need to wait for the corrective structure, but overall I'm sell biased. This is where I want to trade and look for termination of whatever corrective structure for some downside continuation. So AJ, nice and sell bias as well. Let's go on to some AU. So AU, looking at high time frame stuff. Let's just check. Okay, chats are still clear, nothing in the chats. So looking at high time frame, we still have momentum to the upside, still have this overall corrective structure there. So we're focusing on basically what's just happening, most recent price action. We can draw corrective structure but we decided not to. Let's just focus on what's going on most recent. So this most recent price action here, we understand that we're moving to the downside in a corrective manner. So our levels of structure, we expect them to be broken, and obviously being broken back above, or whatever the case is. Because we're moving to the downside in a corrective manner, we move to the upside in an impulsive manner on a higher time frame. But otherwise, just looking at this most recent structure, we've got a low, we've got a high, and obviously a new lower low. Price action came up there. Obviously, our level of structure that price broke below, broke back above, that we can use for a nice retest area. So let's just mark that out there because that's what's important to us on a daily. Anyway, that's what's important to us on a daily. Otherwise, let's go down to a 4-hour. Look at the nature of what's been going on. I know we all saw how aggressive Friday was. And did we not plan that? Like, if you guys remember, was that not our plan last week to look to sell from this POI inside of here for downside continuation after this ascending structure? Price action is just amazing. it's just nice. It's just nice. It's interesting. Otherwise, just continue. So we've got this overall corrective structure, nice downside, whatever. Looking at conclusion, or looking at what's going on higher time frame, is we're coming closer to this area where obviously we wanted to be buyers. What has price done for us? Price has given us this bunch of equal lows here that we knew that price was going to come and take out these equal lows for a long time. Price came, took out these equal lows, gave us a nice bullish, a nice buy over here. And obviously we then again on a higher time frame, now we've got a triple bottom. Now we've got buyers from here that are in profit, buyers from here that are in profit, and buyers from here that are in profit, if maybe their stops were nice and well below this level of structure, whatever the case is. But now we've got a lot more liquidity in this area here, and we've got our POI down in this area here. So I am definitely going to be a buyer once price action hits this low. So I think for myself, I'm going to set my alert somewhere here. And then obviously we know that we want to be buyers at this POI here. We see momentum shift here. We know that wherever there were buyers, if there were buyers present, see a nice big bullish engulfing candlestick over here. That's where some of those buyers came into the market. Another bullish engulfing maybe somewhere down low. Other buyers came into the market somewhere down there. So now we know that we've got two regions maybe where we could possibly be buyers. This is our first region to be buyers. Looking at the overall price action, we cannot be a buyer in what's going on there. So otherwise, going on to, or maybe going into next week, if we're still inside of this corrective structure, I'm sure everyone can see it nice and clear. Looking at the structure, low, high, new lower low, and obviously, excuse me, new high. We've got a level of structure that price action has broken above, broken back below. And obviously, if price action does come up to retest this level of structure, that's where I want to be a seller for downside continuation. So if we do not tap these lows and we come up to retest this area, I'm going to be a seller. If we come down and tap these lows first and then decide to go up, I'm not going to be a seller anymore. I'm going to be waiting for price action to come down and rather allow me to be a buyer. So if you guys can see what's going on there, if we don't clear these lows first, we can be sellers. If we clear these lows, we're only looking to be buyers because liquidity has been grabbed. Buy side liquidity has been grabbed already. There are no other incentives for price action to maybe want to be impulsive to the downside after that. Cool. Let's delete all of this nice blue stuff over there. And maybe just do this. So let me just for AU put this orange tab because we both can be sellers and we can be buyers based off what price action chooses to do at this point in time. So yeah, let's just open ourselves to both positions, beautiful sell and a beautiful buy. Whichever one presents themselves first, that's the one we're going for. Susian, I see something in the chat there. Let's just go into Susian and then we'll check what's going on in the chat. Are you going to look at indices, US30, US100? So definitely US30, not NASDAQ, but US30, yeah, definitely. We should also take into account that NFP week fundamentals. Yeah, definitely. If you guys maybe are looking to involve yourself on, especially on smaller time frames, yeah, if there's something that's going to rock the market, maybe be aware of it so that you avoid getting stopped out or just unnecessary losses or maybe involved in an environment that's just not conducive for you. So Susian, we're at this resistance, pull we broke above, still looking to be a seller higher time frame, and I'm kind of not going to do anything until she gives us some selling opportunities. So let me go down to a smaller time frame. Let's just, all I want to do is mark out this high. That's all the information I want from a daily. Otherwise, let's just go down to a 4-hour and cut all of the nonsense out of this pair, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this pair, because I just assume she's gonna require patience either way. So otherwise, you guys can see we got some new downside momentum. Obviously, characteristics of some sort of a downtrend. We're moving to the upside in some sort of a corrective manner because we break resistance and we break back below. So what I want to do is I want to look to trade at extreme highs being this resistance that we have, obviously from a daily, this resistance that we've got from a daily. Also, what we have here is the potential for price action to give us a nice third touch, which also aligns kind of with that daily resistance. So for me to be a seller, my only sell will come on CHFJPY if ever price action comes up there. So for CHFJPY, I'm going to continue to exercise patience, maybe just set an alert and not even bother to look at this pair until the alert gets triggered on a daily. So yeah, CHFJPY, sell biased, but yeah, she's just been like that and I'm okay with it. We'll just keep waiting. New Zealand dollar CAD, but even though we're waiting, guys, market is still hot. Don't let one pair, two pairs, or even all of them make you feel like nothing's going to happen in the week, because what we're doing, anything can change at any point in time. That's why this place is a nice place to be. A winning week can turn into a losing week in one split second. A losing week can turn into a winning week in one split second. We've got our lows here from a daily. So otherwise, coming into the most recent structure, because that's kind of what we've been just focusing on. Most recent daily structure, what we've got there is some sort of a descending structure, lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. But we know that price action has been moving to the downside in a corrective manner. So obviously we were looking at this level of structure here. We saw the price action came here impulsively. So obviously we can't look to just aggressively buy when price action comes impulsively. You have to wait for a reversal structure. So otherwise, conclusion on this structure being, since we are looking for buys, we are at some weekly or daily support over there. And we are doing some sort of a nonsense, some sort of nonsense here. I don't know what to call this nonsense, what name is there for it, but I'm sure someone somewhere in the world has English for it. They'll call it something. But otherwise, all I'm going to do is just focus on the most recent price action, because it's a little bit too confusing and I don't want to call this anything and just make my eyes start seeing things that are not there. I want to trade the extreme highs and extreme lows so that I'm not trading where I'm going to involve myself inside some chop. So extreme lows being at this support, that's kind of where I want to be a buyer. If ever there's an opportunity for me to be a seller, I want to be a seller at some resistance, which is what we did last week. We were a seller at this resistance. We were a seller because we were at resistance as much as high time frame. We wanted to be biased. But otherwise, since price action is moving to the downside, we're going to resume our bullish bias. And all we're doing is when we drop down, let me just delete all this nonsense before we go down to a 4-hour. When we drop down onto a 4-hour, we're looking for those areas of momentum shift. And if there are any structures. So first of all, off the bat, there are no momentum. There's no bullish engulfings that we see in this area here that haven't been tapped into. So all we've got to do is just wait for price action to come down to support. That's literally all we can do on New Zealand dollar CAD for a trading opportunity at this point in time. We cannot even sell. I wouldn't even be comfortable. I wouldn't even tell anyone to sell from here there, because there's just no risk to reward ratio, or at least not a lot of it going to the downside. So for New Zealand dollar CAD, I guess just a little bit of patience. We are bullish on New Zealand dollar CAD, but we are only bullish, I guess, maybe just below these lower structures here. Once we start coming into this support region over here, then we'll pay attention to what structures are forming. How are we moving to the downside? If we're moving to the downside in a corrective manner, then nice. We've got an area that we will be able to isolate a POI. But if we come down in an impulsive manner, we need to wait for a reversal structure, whether it's an inverse, whether it's I don't care what it is, but we need to wait for a reversal structure. And then obviously the reversal structure will then give us a point of interest to focus on for our opportunity to go against whatever momentum we've got going there, if that's what our plan is. But otherwise, looking for that reversal and for price action to come down closer to support on New Zealand dollar CAD. Let's go on to New Zealand dollar yen. See something there in the chats. Seems like price is gonna fill that wick on New Zealand. Yeah, this wick down low here, possibly, yeah. And it's all, I think it's also a daily wick as well. Yeah, possibly, because in my own assumptions, like this is the only demand that since there is no bullish engulfing, no clear momentum shift, remember that a wick is also a sign of rejection. Wick is also a sign of some sort of momentum moving either aggressively to the upside or aggressively to the downside. So it's still an area of momentum shift that maybe price action can come back and fill. Awesome, awesome, awesome spot. Awesome observation there, dude. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Nice, dude. Nice, dude. Nice spot. Now you made me feel more comfortable about waiting for price action to come down to that support. Thanks. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, let's go into some New Zealand dollar yen. So let's just JPY code pair. We'll get some information from our high time frames. So high time frames, ascending structure. We're at this some sort of resistance trend line. Obviously, we're doing something nice and complex in this area, but just most recent price action, we've got some sort of, it's like a range inside of a range inside of a range. This is preparing for some type of an explosive move. Some heavy explosions. If you guys saw Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit corrective. Thursday was the holiday day. Friday, boom, momentum. Price is preparing for something once we stall for so long. But otherwise, extreme high, extreme low. Price has been inside ever since. New extreme high, new extreme low. Price has been inside ever since. New extreme high, new extreme low. Price has been inside ever since. So cool. We understand that when we're approaching this on the smaller time frames, we should approach it the way we approach a range. We know that our probabilities lie at extreme highs and extreme lows. Obviously, we look at the structures that are forming within all of this crap to be able to find out which direction could the next momentum be. Cool. So we know already we've got crap going on. So no need for me to draw all of the different thousands or 10,000s of ranges. Just go straight to the 4 hour and then just find areas of probability where if then we can do this, if that, then we can do that. Cool. So looking at the overall structure here, we're obviously moving to the side, we're moving sideways, but what we do have here is most recent price action on a 4 hour is we've got some momentum to the upside, right? This momentum hasn't really been able to violate maybe an important level of structure like that one, but we did break below a level of structure and we did break back above a level of structure. Do we have an origin of momentum shift inside of here? Maybe not on this time frame, but I know on a smaller time frame you'll find a bullish engulfing inside of there. So maybe let's not isolate that as a POI, but let's just put a trend line there to know that this is a level of structure where we can look for upside continuation. Otherwise, if we're just looking at the most recent price action here, we've got this momentum to the downside. So yes, we can look to trade in both directions, but probabilities will lie at extreme highs or extreme lows or POIs, areas where price action has a tendency or has greater chance of doing one thing rather than the other thing. So otherwise, we do have momentum to the downside. We've got a nice corrective structure over here. Obviously, we're at the low of this corrective structure. If we want to sell, we need to be looking to trade or to look to sell somewhere at the high of this corrective structure here. What I do see is I do see a nice, beautiful momentum shift over here that has been able to break a level of structure there. So for me to look for any sells, obviously, I'm not maybe expecting price action to maybe want to come to the highs of this range, but I do want to still trade at a nice POI where I do see a momentum shift. So this is the last area where I do see some sellers coming into the market very nice and aggressively. So if ever I do want to sell, I'm going to wait for price action to show me that we are corrective into this level of structure to look for downside continuation, obviously towards the low of the range where we can't be looking to sell any further. Maybe we'd rather be looking for opportunities to buy. So for New Zealand dollar yen, maybe we'll just wait and see what the structures do, but I don't see a lot of probabilities in trading New Zealand dollar yen unless we get a clear corrective structure. That obviously is something nice for us to then say, okay, cool. Probabilities have been increased. We've got a new structure that's giving us new information, that's giving us better probabilities. We can trade more comfortably. But right now, until we come to extreme levels of structure like these lows and maybe these highs up here, yeah, we can get chopped around. So let's go on to US30, see what's going on there in the chats. Oh wait, thanks G, looking at the same thing. I used the JP225. Okay, I see. To understand the yen pairs. Yeah, DXY for the dollar. Yeah. So basically, also the Nikkei. I think it's the Nikkei as well. Can also go by the Nikkei or something like that. Yeah, but I think for every pair, literally, if you guys haven't explored your trading view enough, go and explore. Press buttons that you've never pressed before, because if you mess things up, you can always restart. So go and press things like, obviously you've got the DXY, which maybe would be an index for the dollar index. Have you ever thought that maybe GBP pairs maybe have something like a GXY or something like that? Or I think it's something else. It is the JXY. There's the Japanese yen, whatever. Well, every pair has its own index, its own basket of things. I don't know what they are because I'm not interested in looking at them, but go and find them. They're all there. All the yen pairs have their basket. All the New Zealand dollar pairs have a basket. I think it's, I don't know, NXD. I don't know. Every pair has its own basket. So you guys go and find them. There's an NXD USD. I think that's the basket of, I don't know. But anyway, you guys go and find them. Every pair has its own basket. Cheers. Let's go on to US30 and then conclude the analysis. Start off on a daily. So basically daily, we've got a nice expanding structure, descending expanding structure that we've had forever. Because it's on a daily, obviously. It takes a while to change. Reach support. Okay, we're using these support structures here. Obviously, we're at this nice resistance over here. Level of structure that we broke above, broke back below, came back for a nice, beautiful retest and momentum that I have not seen in a long time, in a short period of time. It was not like the whole of Friday had that momentum. It was only like, like 2 or 3, 4 hours, 5 hours in Friday that just destroyed the whole day, the whole week, actually. Otherwise, yeah, nice momentum to the downside. So obviously we see, okay, cool, US30 maybe wants to move to the downside. So if we're looking for downside continuation, we're looking for downside continuation at levels of structure, at POIs, or whatever the case is. For buying opportunities, we have a momentum shift or an area over here on a daily where we obviously saw a whole lot of buyers coming into the market. Nice bullish engulfing, nice follow through. We even managed to break a level of structure, broke this resistance over there from that momentum shift, as well as from this one here. But obviously we'll isolate them or make them a lot smaller as we drop down the time frames to see where did that momentum originate. Here on a 4 hour, obviously that momentum originated somewhere inside of there. Low bullish engulfing down low. So that there. Obviously, we know buyers came in from there. So if anything, if I want to be a seller, I have to break and retest. So I guess things just become very simple for us. Even on a smaller time frame, no matter which time frame we're on, price is currently moving and we're moving fast. If I want to be a buyer, I can't just be a buyer. I need to wait for some sort of a reversal structure on a smaller time frame, but I've isolated that. I'm looking for my reversal specifically within this price region. If I do not find it inside this price region, then I'm not buying. Otherwise, for sells, we've got a nice POI up here. Obviously, maybe price action will take a while to get back to that POI, but we could be looking also for a nice simple break and a retest. So things on US30 become simple. Downside continuation, break and a retest. Obviously, for buying opportunities, this is the only small sliver of opportunity that we have to buy in face of all of these sellers that are just apparently inside of the market. And if we don't find any setup inside of here, then we can't buy. We have to wait for price action, obviously, to give us something. So I think US30, I want to be primarily sell bias. I would like to continue with the sells. It looks interesting. I like to see the world crashing and burning, because if you guys go ahead and look at your daily 4 hour, whatever time frame, when the market is crashing, when US30, when the world is crashing and burning, we crash and burn very hard and very fast. We buy very slowly. Look at how long it took for price action to come back to coronavirus highs. Cool. I would like to be a seller. I think we're done, 100% done with the with the analysis. Cheers. Let there be peace in the streets, guys. I don't know if I don't have anything to say. Otherwise, unless maybe you guys want to say something in this 1 minute 50 seconds in the chat, or you want to unmute or whatever the case is, but I'm 100% done. We all know which directions we're going. Yeah. Are you guys there? Katlano, what's good, man? Are you in bed? Are you in bed on this weekend, man? Are you in bed on this weekend? Oh, let me allow you guys to unmute. Let me allow you guys to unmute. I don't know whoever wants to unmute in these last seconds that we've got.
Yeah, I really appreciate like
Michael,
analysis, man.
thanks, man. Thanks,
Heads
man.
up.
Oh, wait, I have
Away.
unlimited Zoom.
Always on the safe side, Baba.
Oh, wait. 100%, man. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Michael. No, shout out. Feeling ready for the week. Awesome, awesome. That's what we want. We want to be prepared. We want to be prepared. Because planning beats everything. Proper preparation. Otherwise, let there be peace, guys. Cheers. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in the cruise.